Wow, that sucks. Can you hear something now? I was just talking in silence for 10 minutes. Actually, it wasn't. It was more like 3 minutes. That is terrible. Oh my God. This is why you do mic checks. This is my lack of professionalism shining through. Thanks for bailing me out there. Oh my God. Well, this is why you have an audience, so they can tell you you're screwing up. But anyhow, I was just talking about football, talking about the Kyler Murray play at the end of the game, winning me money because I had the over. I had over 56 and a half. That game was at exactly 56 when Buffalo scored that touchdown. I was so mad because it meant basically I was screwed. Basically, I had lost because it was going to be really tough for Arizona to get a touchdown there, and I didn't think they had it in them to do it. And then they did it. They got it, and they got me my money on the over, which meant that I was right because I was telling everybody Arizona over, boom, lock of the week. And it doesn't matter how close it was. It doesn't matter how undeserving you were of the win. All that matters is that you win, period. So we had that happen. Got the Cardinals in there. Unless you had them with the points. Then if you had them at 2.5, you lost on that kneel down. Because extra point could get blocked and they could run it back for 2 points. And you don't want that. So just take the knee, get out of there if your 2-point win, call it a day. And that's what the Cardinals did. Cost some people some money. Nick Chubb costing people money. If you had Cleveland given 3.5, Nick Chubb dancing out of bounds at the 1-yard line, costing you that money. Costing your fantasy team those points. Could have cost you money in your fantasy league. But he knows that getting out of bounds is the right call. It ends the game. It wins the game for the Browns. So he did it. I got faith in Cleveland. I got faith in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is legit. I bought his jersey because he's really good and also because it's horribly loud and obnoxious. I couldn't find any dumb orange jerseys anywhere else. I was thinking of getting a Von Miller Bronco 50 jersey, nice and orange, but I don't know. I don't think it's that great. This is the thing about Burrow, is he makes going to Cincinnati a decision you can justify. Before Joe Burrow, if the Cincinnati Bengals called you on the phone, you would hang up on them. If the Giants or the Texans or the Browns, even the Browns for crying out loud, even anyone else, any team in the NFL basically that's not just a perennial dumpster fire, like the Atlanta Falcons, if they called you up and said, we'll give you $10 million to play for us, and then the Cincinnati Bengals call you up and say, hey, we'll give you $10 million to play for us, you're going to take the $10 million from Atlanta. Or you're going to tell the Bengals, you got to pay me $13 million for me to go down there because you're terrible. So, that's just the way it was. And I did not know that you were narc. It is good to know that you are narc. But that's the thing. The Bengals had that stink on them. The Bengals were bad, and they had been bad for forever. So Burrow makes the badness less palpable. You can look at Joe Burrow and say, Cincinnati's got something going. Yeah, exactly. That's what the Patriots did. Come and play for us, get a ring, improve your value, go to free agency after having played a year in New England under Belichick, getting the best out of you. And then you'll get paid, but you'll have a ring in your pocket and you'll have gravitas. You'll have credibility. And that's how they got away with so much. But, now the Patriots are going to have to open up the bank vaults. They're going to have to bring the money truck out because the whole Patriot discount is not going to fly for the NFL now. He absolutely is. Burrow's ridiculous. I mean, just think about this year. Just think. We got Hibbert, we got Tua, we got Burrow. We got good young quarterbacks, and that makes the NFL exciting. It makes you feel better about Breeze and Brady retiring in a few years, that there's still going to be good quarterback play in this league. Roethlisberger, he's on his way out. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are on their way out, but they are being replaced by elite talent. And yet Trevor Lawrence come into the league next year, most likely, unless he hates the Jets so much that he doesn't want millions and millions of dollars and to be the face of New York. It is mind-blowing to me that you can have such a bad couple of football teams from New York. How can the Giants and the Jets suck as much as they do for as long as they have? It's New York, for crying out loud. You got to be good. Someone's got to be good in that city. Oh yeah. It's crazy. Peyton Manning. Yeah, he was getting the snot kicked out of him. He went through a real trial by fire his rookie year. Meanwhile, he was terrible. He was terrible his rookie year. On the scoreboard, anyways. Burrow's got more wins than him right now. Tua's 3-0. Hibbert should have won a ton of games by now. The Chargers just exist only to break people's hearts. It is devastating. If you're a Chargers fan, you gotta be both hopeful because you got Hibbert and just absolutely ruined mentally, because this team just cannot win a game for you. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But you have all that stuff happening. Tua played Hibbert today and beat him. Tua beat Kyler Murray last week. And I love Kyler Murray. Oh, my God. I want the Cardinals to go to the Super Bowl so bad. I want Larry Fitzgerald to play for another Lombardi trophy. I want him to have that chance because he had it. He had it. Those goddamn Steelers took it from him. Boo those Steelers. Boo them. Cardinals should have won that game. Kurt Warner should have had a storybook ending to his career. Larry Fitzgerald should have got his ring. So, yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. But I'm going to be more on the ball about reacting to people in the chat than I usually am. Because I got a small audience, because this was done unexpected, last minute. Just snuck it on there because I felt like talking about football. I felt like laughing at everybody who bet the Buccaneers and the Ravens. Everyone was on that Ravens-Buccaneers tease today. I heard about it from everywhere. All the experts, all my friends who bet, every square alive, shoveling money in on the Buccaneer Raven tease because there's no way it could turn out wrong. There's a reason why sports books offer teases. There's a reason why bookies tell you they'll take a tease, because they know it's a sucker play and you're a sucker for doing it. If you had just bet Tampa Bay straight up, you win. If you just bet Baltimore straight up, you lose. But that's how it works out. The tease doesn't help. It's tough to have the tease help. The number of times you will tease a bet and then win that tease because both teams did not cover the original number and they only covered the tease number is like zero. It doesn't happen. If you're going to do a tease, do a parlay. Just put the big money on it. Instead of putting 220 to win 200 on the tease, put 200 to win 450 on the tease. On the parlay. And you lose, but guess what? You would have lost either way if you'd teased it because the Ravens lost on the field. The NFC East is terrible. And how dare you use that outdated racial slur for a name? That is the Washington football team, good sir. The Washington football team. Who almost won today. I knew a guy who had big money on the Washington football team to win the game today, and they didn't do it. And I tried to talk him out of it yesterday because he was talking it up. And I was like, man, if you're talking about the Lions and the football team being your play of the week, you have a gambling problem because those are two terrible teams. And if you're going to play two terrible teams, you better be taking the points. And he was like, I like Washington money line. I might put a little on the spread, but I'm going to go money line too. And I just don't get it. The split was inevitable, and I root for the laundry. I root for Belichick. I root for the Patriots. I have so many friends that are Brady supporters that are huge Buccaneers fans this year. I'm kidding with you. It just makes me laugh that they're the Washington football team now, because they couldn't come up with a real name after after being the Washington racial slurs for so many years. They couldn't get over it. And I accept the Buccaneer bandwagoners. I accept that. What's really hilarious is if you think QAnon is a bunch of dead enders, if you think QAnon is people that haven't accepted reality and accepted what's going on in our world. I had a guy in the casino yesterday, and I've known him for a long, long time. He is Parcells-anon. He is a dead-end Bill Parcells guy, and he thinks that Bill Belichick's a bum. And he was crowing about how all the people on sports talk radio who are calling into the shows are whining about Belichick being a bum, how Belichick sucks, how Brady carried his sorry butt all these years. And it just takes work. It really takes work to be that deluded for 2 decades. Did Brady hold the Rams to 3 points in the Super Bowl? Did Brady slow down the greatest show on turf the first time around when we played the Rams? Belichick is so good at his job, and he's so much better than anybody else. It's not even funny. And, I wish them both success, but in the end, I just think that I have to back my coach because he's the coach of my team right now. And when the Patriots are eliminated from the playoffs, which seems likely because they've dug themselves way too big a hole, they're going to have to almost win out, or they can only lose one more game, really. I think it's going to be so tough to make the playoffs in the AFC this year. Even with the 7th playoff spot, you might need to go 10-6. The AFC is loaded this year. You read about, you got Buffalo, you got Miami. You got the Bills, Buffalo, Miami. You got the Steelers. You got the Ravens. You got the Browns. You got the Chiefs. You got the Raiders. You got the Colts. You got the Titans. You have so many teams that have so many wins. It's going to be tough to make the playoffs. It's going to be really tough. The NFC sucks. And the fact that the NFC is going to have one playoff spot stolen from it by some atrocity in the NFC East is going to be hilarious. The NFC East leader is now 3-5-1. That is how bad they are. And everyone was like, oh, Philadelphia will eventually get to 8 wins because they're playing that terrible division and they'll just win a lot of games in that terrible division. They should have lost both their games to the Giants. The Giants had them the first time around. If Philadelphia just escaped with their lives. This time around, the Giants just stomped them. The Bengals would win the NFC East. Oh, man, that is the question. That is the question. How many teams that are not in the NFC East, if you replaced, let's just say for the sake of argument, even though it may not be true. Actually, the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in the NFC East. So, which teams could you replace the Dallas Cowboys with in the NFC East, and that team would not win the division? Jacksonville would not win the division. The New York Jets would not win the division. Would the Detroit Lions win the NFC East? I think that's close. Would the currently injured and decimated by injuries 49ers win the NFC East? Maybe. I think they're on par. They might be. Philadelphia might be a little bit better, but it's very close. Oh man. I can't vouch to Andy Dalton's goodness as a person. He was a solid cornerback, but Marvin Lewis killed him as his coach, which is why he never got anywhere. The Bengals would win the NFC East. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, they played the Eagles to a draw, and that was when Burrow was still getting sacked every week and still getting his feet under him. The Texans. I don't think the Texans would win the NFC East. They're really bad. Would the Los Angeles Chargers win the NFC East if they replaced Dallas? Man, that's close. I mean, they've just been finding ways to lose, but it feels like they're so much more talented than the other three teams in that division. Whew. This is a hilarious thought exercise. This is what someone who's on like the ESPN or the CBS Sports Radio graveyard shift doing the midnight to 4 a.m. shift is they're taking callers on this right now. I mean, oh man. Yeah, I mean, it is good that Burrows didn't get hurt against Pittsburgh, but the kid's got to play. I mean, he's got to go out there. He's got to get hit. I mean, oh yeah, you guys know well of Steelers injuring quarterbacks since they ruined Carson Palmer's career all those years ago. I remember when I was working in Vegas, some guy had a very angry shirt about that. That was like Pittsburgh cheaters. Good luck in the Super Bowl. Break a leg. This was a salty Cincinnatian that was at the poker tables that I was dealing at that time. Not over it, and probably never should have gotten over it. Because the Bengals were on the ascension. Carson Palmer was the man, and they were ready to go. And then that stunted the Bengals until Dalton and Lewis came in, and then it just turned out that they had a plateau. I think more Lewis. Lewis had a plateau, and they couldn't get over the hump, and they wouldn't fire Lewis. So Dalton, he just couldn't get there. He couldn't get there with that coach, and they couldn't get there with that roster. They just couldn't get him over the top. But now they got Burrow, and that means they've got another decade of above average to excellent quarterback play, period. And this year they're probably going to go like 10-1 or whatever, get a top 15 or so draft pick, probably top 12. And they're going to be able to add more pieces. I'm sure the Bengals have cap space. They don't have anyone on their team. So this is going to be a good off season. And I think next year and definitely this year, like this upcoming draft and this upcoming free agency period is kind of the time where you put it together for the second year and then you go like 8-8, 9-7. You tickle that 7th playoff spot. You might not get it. You do get it. And then the off season that year is when you pull off the Odell Beckham trade. You pull off the big move that shows everybody the Bengals are going for it. We're making a serious run at being a contender now, and let the chips fall where they may, and let's see if we can do this. So that's what I think is like very possible here. That's what I think is like in the cards, as it were, for the Bengals. What is the rest of your schedule? Do you have any more cupcakes lined up? I mean, you are playing the NFC East. Have you played all the NFC East teams you have? I know you had Philly on the schedule. Do you have Dallas still? Do you have the football team or the Giants? Because those are wins. Those are wins. AJ Green is he's old. A lot of tread, not a lot of tread left on the tire of AJ Green. So I mean, using the power of Google, I'm going to type in the Bengals schedule. Let's see what they got left. Oh my God, they have 3 NFC East games left. They're playing the football team this week, upcoming at home. Then they are playing the Giants on the road. Then they're home for the Dolphins. Tua versus Burrow. That is a marquee matchup right there, baby. That is a good game. Then they're on the road against the Cowboys. Oh my God! And then they play the Steelers and the Texans. And then they finish the season against on the road against the Ravens. So you got like 3 wins there against those NFC East cupcakes. You should be able to beat the Texans, which would make the Miami Dolphins really happy. And then you probably get smashed by the Steelers and Ravens. Although tonight showed the Baltimore Ravens can be had. The Patriots get them. I mean, oh my God. Patriots got the Ravens tonight, so they showed that they're vulnerable. I think the Dolphins are incredible. I think the Dolphins are really dangerous right now because if Tua is legit, they're going to be basically like the Bengals, only they are Florida, they are South Beach, they are fun and sun. They had to pull Fitzpatrick. They had to get Tua out there. They had to show people what Tua was, because now they're really dangerous next year, especially if they make the playoffs this year. But just imagine where the Dolphins are going into next year. Imagine that the Dolphins go 10-6, 9-7, make the playoffs. There'd be a wild card most likely. I don't know that they can beat the Steelers or the Chiefs, or they could beat the Colts or the Titans. If they got the NFC South team, they could beat them. But I don't know that the Dolphins would be the highest wild card team. But for the sake of argument, let's just see the Dolphins make the playoffs and lose in the first round. And even if they win the first round, if once they play the Steelers or the Chiefs, they'd lose. But well, the main thing is that if you had Fitzpatrick and you did good and you even made the playoffs, people still know that Fitzpatrick's a fraud and they don't know what Tua is and they can't trust you. Whereas now, if you go 9-7, 10-6 with Tua, you lose in the first or the second round of the playoffs. Tua looks good. And this is the thing about the Dolphins. Let's say Tua looks good, and you go into the offseason, and guess what? You have the Texans' first and second round draft picks. The Texans gave you a ridiculous deal for an offensive lineman, Tunsil, and someone else, some stiff. And the Texans mortgaged their future on this. They really thought to themselves, if we shored up our offensive line in front of Deshaun Watson, we would have a Super Bowl contending team, because Bill O'Brien just drove that team into a ditch. Last week, they had the graphic on Sunday Night Football that the Dolphins had the number 7 overall pick from the Texans. And the Texans lost this week, so the pick couldn't have gotten any worse. So it's still top 7, most likely. It might have gotten even better. I don't know. I haven't checked. But so you have a top 10 pick in the first round, a top 10 pick in the second round. You're going to have your own picks in those rounds. You're going to have Tua, who is the up-and-coming dynamo, the dynamic new quarterback, cornerstone franchise player for the Miami Dolphins. When the Miami Dolphins give you that phone call, oh my God, do you want to answer it? Oh my God, do you want to be a Miami Dolphin right now? You want to play for Brian Flores, the only good coach to come from Bill Belichick's coaching tree. You want to have Tua as your leader. You want to have just this glut of young talent that's going to come pouring into that team next year. 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, 2 of them high picks in the rounds. Miami's dangerous. Miami is crazy dangerous. I mean, you think about it, Miami and Cincinnati are on the upswing, and they're crazy. They're just so good. It's going to be really worrisome for the rest of the AFC that this is where we're at. And if I mean, the Chargers have to fire Anthony Lynn. They have to figure out what's going on. They have to get a coach in there that can install a culture of winning, so they stop blowing these close games. But I mean, the thing is that like the Chiefs are going to be there for forever because Mahomes is ridiculous. Mahomes is the pedigree. Mahomes is the standard. So you've got Kansas City as the perennial contender now. They've replaced New England as the best team in the AFC for forever. But now there are teams that are going to be rising up to challenge them. New teams. I don't know how much longer Pittsburgh can hold up because Roethlisberger probably only has a year or two left before he just falls apart like the Bluesmobile. So when Pittsburgh like falls off, that's going to be the real question there. Oh no, my eyes got exposed. QAnon frantically stopping the video to get that eyeball shot to begin the doxing process against me. But it's just and Baltimore, I mean, we don't know what Baltimore is right now. Last year was supposed to be their year. They were supposed to win the Super Bowl last year. They blow it against the Titans, and this year they're pedestrian. I mean, I know they've had some good games. I know they beat the piss out of the Bengals. I know they've done some good stuff, but it just doesn't feel like Baltimore knows what they're doing. It doesn't feel like they have that it factor, as it were, to get this thing over the hump. They're not going to get the bye week this year. And I don't know that they're better than Kansas City or Pittsburgh. So I can't have any faith in the Ravens. And I don't know that I'm going to have faith in the Ravens going forward. So it's like next year, Kansas City is the best team in the West, probably the best team in the whole AFC. Titans are probably the best team in the South because the Colts, Phil Rivers sucks. He's going to kill that team sooner or later. He's not good now. He'll be worse a year from now. That division is kind of mediocre at best. The Titans should win it by default next year. They should win it this year, but they're finding a way to blow it to the Colts, which is incredible. Then you've got the North. The Steelers should be on the downtick, and that means the Bengals and the Browns should be right there. And the Ravens, if they can figure it out, they should be there too. The North should be competitive and really fierce, but who knows? And then the AFC East might just be crazy. You might have the Dolphins loaded with young talent. Tua leading the charge. This team galvanized, ready for a run. The Bills still looking good. As long as they can make a few draft moves, keep that team rolling, they'll be fine. Josh Allen's fine. That team is good. Then you could have the Jets with Trevor Lawrence and a new coach and a new general manager. Trevor Lawrence, the toast of New York, the hero, the savior. And the Patriots obviously have to draft their quarterback of the future. I mean, they could go crazy and sign Cam to a 2 or 3 year deal as a stopgap. And the Patriots have like $73 million in cap space. So the Patriots could reload very quickly. That division, the AFC East next year, could be an absolute Shark Tank. You could have 4 incredible teams in that division next year. Trevor Lawrence and the Jets. Tua and the crazy young Dolphins ready to go. The Bills still excellent. And the Patriots reloaded and rearmed and ready to go. That could be a crazy, crazy division. So, I mean, yeah, the AFC is just so full of good teams. Like, who's bad in the AFC? The Texans, the Jaguars. I mean, who are the teams that are no hopers? Because every team in the AFC feels like they got some hope down the line. I mean, only the Texans and the Jags suck and are not going to stop sucking. I mean, they're just bad. But every other team, you can talk yourself into the Titans and Tannehill and Henry, and the defense might shore it up again. The Colts are a quarterback away from being really good. I mean, the Steelers, again, if they can make the transition from Roethlisberger to a good quarterback, they'll keep it rolling. Their defense is great. They got a good coach, even though I don't like Tomlin. Bengals aren't going to make the playoffs. I mean, Patriots aren't going to make the playoffs. Playoffs are so hard to make in the AFC right now. Oh, my God. I mean, even with 7 playoff spots, it feels like 10-6 is going to be what you need to do to get in. Such a tough conference. NFC sucks, and you're going to have the Eagles stealing a playoff spot from a good team. Whew. Yeah. Realistic fans are good fans. I hate crazy homers. I hate people that are irrational and silly about their teams. So, yeah, I mean, this week was interesting. Kyler saved the day. The Patriots took everyone's money. Tua looked good. The Packers barely beat the Jaguars. That was easy money if you took the Jaguars plus 13.5. I'm going to do that this Thursday. I'm going to make all my picks while I'm dunking on QAnon Thursday. That'll be the final segment of the show. So, yeah. My favorite NFC team, Arizona Cardinals. Boom. Arizona. All day, every day right now. Love the Cards. So, yeah. So, glad I was able to talk to Narc. Sorry I didn't have my microphone on for like the first 3 minutes, but I just wanted to spitball about the football for a while. And now I'm going to log off, and I will be back Tuesday at 8 o'clock to talk about QAnon, the election, their continuing stupidity, Trump's continuing stupidity, and all that good stuff. Because we live in hell world, and it's never going to end. And I'll have a New Jersey for you all then, too.